Amazon sales are up nearly 30%. Earnings blew past expectations, and their move to cloud computing isn't hurting their bottom line either. The Roundup is next. The head of British Airways says Bombardier's big sale to Delta has put the C-Series jets on their potential shopping list too. But despite all the interest, the company is still looking for taxpayers' money. That story kicks off the Roundup. Nicole Verkindt is the founder and president of ONX. She's here to talk about this story and others. So, Nicole, what do you think? People are questioning, does Bombardier really still need taxpayer money?
Well, this is great momentum, these sales announcements, but clearly it's a marathon to profitability. I mean, this is a long program. This is what they call a clean sheet program. So it's entirely new aircraft, incredible technology, and they still are going to need a strong balance sheet to get through the program and to get to profitability. And they're also going to need that buy-in. So foreign buyers are still looking to say, I mean, the Delta brand is amazing, the largest airline in the world, but they're still looking to say, does the government support this company? Do they have the backing? Or do they have the balance sheet? So I think it's still very important that they get that backing.
Yeah, although why does a private company need public backing? You know, I mean, we don't expect other companies necessarily to get bailouts in order to convince buyers that they're solid.
Yeah, unfortunately in the aerospace industry, and I focus on offsets, but it really is a pay-to-play industry, and you're seeing governments all over the world doing that with their own aerospace sectors. There's a lot of jobs here. We've seen lots of other sectors where that's happened.
Right. I mean, there are plenty of people, of course, who say, well, listen, you know, the U.S. supports Boeing and Brazil supports Embraer, and there's lots of reasons to do it. Here's a professor of business strategy at McGill with his reasoning of why the government should chip in.
It would be very good optics for a G8 country, Canada, to be supporting their biggest global player, Bombardier, so that airlines are saying to themselves, is Bombardier and the C-Series going to be around in 20 years? The answer is yes.
But apparently one of the stumbling blocks to this deal, this $1 billion investment that the government might make, is that there have been a number of published reports saying that the government would like to see a change in the ownership structure. Bombardier is one of these companies that has a dual-class share system, so that basically control is centered in the hands of the founding families, the Bombardiers and the Baudouins, and the government would like to see just a more equitable setup. How do you see that playing out?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're taking debt or anything from any partner or a stakeholder, there's going to be some negotiation. When I raised capital, I had to negotiate on how many seats I had on the board. So that's natural, and I think they do need to go through that negotiation. And I'm not that familiar with all those intricacies, but...
well, Bombardier is saying, no, we're not planning to change anything. So I don't know how far they can get.
Yeah, I think we've seen multiple voting shares in lots of corporations, and that there is a breaking point where we saw it with Frank Stronach, and he was finally out. But there's also something to be said for, you know, one family or one person with a vision and a strong vision, and having employees buy into stock options and having them really forcefully see that long-term vision, which is what Bombardier is. And we really can't forget the technology itself is truly incredible. And if we get into that as Canadians, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, good jobs. That's the rationale. All right, so another story here for you, Nicole. We're learning now from the Canada Revenue Agency that it can squeeze a lot more money out if you give it the resources. You know, the Panama Papers and StatsCan, like there's been a lot of data being released lately about the amount of money that's being put offshore and perhaps not properly taxed. Well, back in 2013, CRA was given an extra $13 million. And take a look at this chart. It shows you exactly how much more they were able to get than what they were expected. And originally, a much lower number, but because they got this additional funds, cracked down that much more, they got 3 times what was expected, an additional $1.6 billion. So what they thought they might get, what they did get, big difference there.
Isn't this fantastic? I think this is great that we're going in this direction and we're seeing more transparency. I've always believed that we should be going more and more digital. I don't even understand why we need cash anymore. We're seeing a really strong fintech sector, and I think if we turn it over to startups to solve the problem of collecting that tax that's not being paid, I think that's one solution. And the more we digitize this and promote more transparency and you know, you can't manage if you can't measure. So
wouldn't there be even more places to hide digital money?
Well, anytime I've had a contractor come and fix my roof or that sort of thing, and they're saying I want to be paid in cash, there's lots of ways where you could say, we don't really do that anymore. We're doing PayPal, and on Airbnb, I got an email from them recently, and they're partnering up with the government to send reminders to say, don't forget to pay tax on that income you've been earning from renting out your apartment or house or whatever. And
Right.
we've got the digital record. So I think more and more that when these partnerships form and there's tracking of that data, it's going to be a good thing.
Yeah, that much more of a record. You're right. Okay, so what about Amazon? Did you see their results?
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, pretty impressive, especially considering tech numbers have not been so great this week. Apple was a big disappointment, Microsoft as well. But now some of the analysts are saying this, right now it's about, well, close to $700 a share. They're saying it could go as $800 or even $900 a share for Amazon. What do you think?
So look, the cost of customer acquisition on these platforms, and again, OMX is very similar, can be very expensive to get your first customer. Once you get them on, and you get them on a subscription like Amazon Prime, you can start feeding them so much more. So it's now going to be all about the distribution through that channel. And so I looked, and most of the profitability was coming from these web-based services and subscriptions, and they really hit it out of the park with the Echo. With Alexa, just don't name your new baby your dog Alexa, because that's where all the problems are happening. But it just goes to show that once you build a platform successfully and you've got people there, you really need to start leveraging that and really start driving those long-term subscriptions and long-term customer value from that first acquisition.
And Amazon is getting into so many other things. You probably saw they're going to take on Netflix.
Yeah.
And offer a video streaming service that will be free with Prime, but you can also get it as a standalone now. And then this Amazon Web Services has been huge, where they're actually renting out parts of the cloud to small businesses or anyone who needs storage in the cloud and so forth. So they're certainly a very inventive company.
And I use both of those services.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, and they're maybe starting to make some money now, which is very nice, after many years of not actually turning a profit. So now what about this controversy involving Earls, the chain of restaurants? Very proudly yesterday proclaimed we're going to be the first chain in North America to source all of our beef as certified humane. These are particular farms that get this designation of being humane. But of course it means they're getting it from the States, not Canada, and there has been a lot of reaction. On Twitter, for example, there was a hashtag came out yesterday, boycott Earls. A lot of people not happy that they're not.
But
yes, yeah, take a look. Here's just a few of the tweets. A lot of really, really unhappy people who, it's a Canadian, Earls is Canadian. It was founded in Edmonton. It's now based in Vancouver. They're buying all their beef, apparently, from the U.S.
And I completely support Buy Canadian, obviously, in Canadian content. But in this instance, beef is a commodity. They're not having a hard time selling their beef, from what I understand. They're losing a huge opportunity because their costs would be lowered to sell to local chains like Earls. But in this case, Earls has done this for a reason. They're getting, I think they've probably done a study, and consumers are saying we don't want to eat beef with hormones, or that it's inhumane.
Well, maybe the people in their study said that. And maybe, I'm sure, of course, there are lots of people who want to see ethical treatment of animals, but a lot of the Canadian farmers are saying, why are you suggesting we don't treat our animals humanely? Just because we don't have this American designation, which of course, you need to ask for, pay for, etc., doesn't mean that our beef isn't ethically raised and all those other good things.
Yeah, I'm with Earls, though, and they're the customer in this case. And if they're driving that need, then the smart Alberta farmers will make a pivot.
I don't know. There's a lot of customers that Earls is counting on, and they're not very happy. So I think this story could be the next catch-up of Canadians.
Yeah, and the numbers will tell the story. We'll see what happens to those numbers.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you so much, Nicole.
Thanks, Dan.